There's dozens of videos popping up online. Dublin's in shambles. People are killing each other. Everything's gone for shite. And dude, it's fucking zombies.
There's no such thing as zombies, Jay.
There's mayhem in Dublin. Is it a hoax, or is it really the dead?
Only you would take a supposed disaster and try turning it into a fame grab.
When I say fair play to her, someone needs to get the message out.
It isn't real.
Evening all. Lovely weather, wouldn't you say?
Whatever you say to her, make sure it ends well. You were hard enough to live with before she came into town.
What are you gonna do?
What I was born to do.
You think this stuff in Dublin is real?
We haven't heard anything back from the branches from the capital since the incident started happening.
I think at least one person could give me a part of a shell of a wit of a thought about what's been going on.
The zombie apocalypse.
The zombies are killing me! Where's my boyfriend?
In the wake of recent attacks, some insurgents have risen up, who've taken the chaos in Dublin as a sign that a revolution is at hand.
For revolutions come to Dublin, it's about high time.
You're not serious, Jerry.
And why not? What does the church have to say on the matter?
Well,
who cares?
Guys, I think it's about time to take a look at these videos.
Get off!
There's something up there.
Well, we know what we have to do now, don't we?
Right. Head for the coast and board the first ship to Puerto Rico.
I've been getting ready for this. Maybe this really is the end. We've cried out for destruction for so long that the damned have finally risen up to take us back into submission. Eternally the beasts that have sprung forth from the depths of our dark soul.
Excuse me while I clean my underpants. I'll never talk to you again.
Welcome to the show. It's your host, Chris Owners. Thank you for tuning in as always, and thank you for following us on Facebook, Twitter, and also on Instagram. Today, we got special guest joining us on the show. I know it's Christmas. Every one of you, you're all running back and forward, looking for the things to buy. But don't worry, we still have plenty of time. You get a lot more. But today, we're going to talk about more show on the show. Well, today we'll be joined by actor, actress, not representing that, Cristina Ryan on the show today. And one of our only friends is right there with us. Hello, girl. How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you? Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome, Cristina. Thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you planning for your Christmas anyway?
Oh, well, as you can see, we have the tree up. We've kind of, prepared that. We're eating whatever we want. We're having a couple of drinks. I think after the year that we've had, we've just kind of gone, you know what, anything goes at this stage, just to try and keep sane. So...
I totally agree with you. I mean, there's not much we can really do. It has been a wonderful year if we put it in a positive light, So, we're nearly there. So I'm delighted. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's a great pleasure to have you here today as an actor, actress. What a great job you're doing. So, Cristina, let's get to meet you. Tell us more about yourself.
Okay, so Irish, grew up kind of surrounded in music mainly background, got into the performing arts very young, did a bachelor and a master's in classical music. I did violin and piano, and then I turned kind of more serious into kind of acting side of things, kind of mainly film. I've done musicals, everything that it brings with it, and then got into a little bit of producing as well. So kind of to get as much information about the trade as possible, because I absolutely love anything to do with the arts and performing and expression.
Wonderful, Christine. It's like your hands are filled up in every table, in every place you put your hands, And also you're a very bubbly person. You're very smiley. You're very outgoing. There's so much light around that. So that's a really good thing, Let's talk about about your acting career. When did you start? What really inspired you to go into acting, if I may put it this way?
I suppose kind of when I was growing up, movies in particular was always my escapism. It was always where, you know, if, I don't know, I was kind of hormonal as a teenager, or, you know, things weren't going great, or, you know, I was happy or sad or whatever, I always turned to movies as a kind of an escape method or something to kind of enjoy or to cheer myself up. And I suppose I kind of looked at that, and I looked at the actors and I looked at the characters, and I kind of, growing up using that as my kind of lifeline, I suppose, I always felt I would love to be able to do that for someone else. So I kind of got into that kind of side of things, and it's more kind of the act of kind of being involved in something like that has really kind of inspired me to keep going, because as you know, it's a very difficult trade to kind of break into.
It is.
Yeah.
It is very difficult, and also once you're in there, you're actually in there. So what kind of role or character would be something that would be of your main interest, or, you know, as a passion for you?
I suppose I tend to go for things a little bit more dark, a little bit more out there, edgy, gritty. I tend to go for quite real topics as opposed to kind of your fantasy or kind of lighter topics. So I tend to kind of push myself in terms of the roles that I do. So if I suppose in a certain way, kind of methodical, like that you would do as much research as you can to do justice for the characters. So normally my ideal kind of characters would be something that I wouldn't be necessarily comfortable with, or that I feel there needs to be a story told, or there needs to be certain topics highlighted. So they're the kind of roles that really draw me, because there's a purpose to them. And then again, feeding into the idea of the reason that I do acting, which is to kind of reach out to someone who, again, can kind of feel they're either not alone or that they can empathize with us. So.
Wow. Amazing, girl. Well done so much. Okay, we'll come back to some of these things you do, because I really like to meet people like yourself who are really into acting, or, you know, all the different areas when it comes to production and entertainment. You know, you're also doing this supporting group that has to do with COVID stress-free. You know, do you want to give us more insight about it? I know this year has been a very kind of, I hate to use the word, very negative way of saying it, but it has always been of what everyone has been through this year. So you set up this group. I believe this group is all about how people can get stress-free. So give us more insight about it, please.
Okay, so the Support COVID-19 Stress Relief Group, it's called, and it's based, I set it up on Facebook. And how it initially came about was COVID obviously took hold of the world, and then very quickly we went into lockdown stage. So it happened that we went into lockdown stage about 3 days before my birthday in March.
Oh.
So I had a bit of a pity party where I kind of said, you know what, really, I can't, you know, have some drinks with friends. I can't meet up. Like, you think you would have waited a couple of days, but you know, it is what it is. So I kind of had a pity party, and I kind of sat down and I had to think about it. And I said, you know what, everyone is going through this. You know, it's not, this isn't about me, and this isn't about, you know, one person alone. This is about a whole nation and a whole human race that need to kind of suddenly, having been thrown into the deep end, need to learn how to swim.
True.
So the idea was to create a platform for people, a safe space that was just kind of a big virtual hug, a place, I suppose, where there was no kind of facts or scaremongering or kind of negativity. It was very much a case where, like, I mean, the stuff that we kind of promote in the group is very light, it's upbeat, it's funny. And then if people are having a rough day, it's kind of, again, just a support mechanism that people can reach to. So it's done really well in terms of, we've got people from all around the world, and it's just grown and it's become amazing. So
wow. And that idea was actually initiated by yourself, isn't it? Yeah,
that's right. So I actually run the group.
Wow, must be really, really busy. So coming back to more of your stuff, you'll be doing, you have some new movies coming out soon. How is the progress for it at the moment?
Well, I suppose like the most kind of arts and TVs and theatre and everything, it's been hugely affected by the restrictions that are in place. So I know one of them, which is called Follow the Dead, it's directed and produced by Adam William Cahill. That has finished post-production. It's actually won a few awards in festivals, in the Kerry International Film Festival, and I think the Richard Harris Film Festival it's been recently brought into. So Follow the Dead is kind of like the Irish zombie film that everyone wants to watch. So it came out kind of, yeah, it's brilliant. And I have to say it was a long time in the making. And I suppose when we were up and ready to kind of release it to the world, all of a sudden there was a pandemic. And weirdly, a lot of the topics seem to have kind of become parallel to the story itself in terms of the human race being thrown into a zombie apocalypse, but in the same way, kind of taken out of their comfort zone where suddenly survival is essential. So it's done really well, and I think it's trying to do the online festivals at the moment. That's Follow the Dead.
Yeah.
I get to play a kick-ass character. She's a guard called Kate. She's kind of she's the protagonist of the movie, I like to say anyway. Kills a lot of zombies.
It's a kick-ass stuff. That's the role you play. So in terms of the production, you say you do corporate produced and stuff like that. So would that be the area where you really want to kind of develop more of your skills on, or you just want to kind of have a bit of that background as part of, or acting would be the main character of what you want to really take a lot more beyond where it is now?
I think the reason I got into the production side was because I think with acting and with being involved in anything, it's the same with work, it's the same with anything that you do on a daily basis. You need to understand the environment that you're surrounded by and how you fit into that. So I think the idea of me getting into the production side of things was primarily to understand how everything works and how, you know, the jigsaw is built and put together. So I think I got involved in a few projects film-wise for that reason, and it gave me a huge insight into, you know, how important everyone's role is, you know, because sometimes I think you can get a little bit consumed by your own kind of importance or, you know, your particular area. So you can get a little bit focused on that. So I think it's really important to just be aware of how the bigger picture works. So that was primarily what I did. I think ultimately there is the draw of acting, which is, you know, kind of my big focus, and I'd love to kind of continue in that. But I have to say I've learned so much from just doing a bit of the producing, you know, to be able to contribute to that.
Well done, good. Proud of you.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, that's the beauty, you know, it's good to be able to lay your hands around stuff, you know. Don't just stick your head on one basket. You have to kind of put your hand in different things. Like you say, the more you do more, the more you kind of know what your surrounding is, and you're able to kind of adapt and walk along it. So fair play to you. And also something really prompts me way back, I think a couple of days ago, when you there was a lot of bit of articles, which is where I kind of reached out to yourself. In relation to that article, I couldn't recollect much of that, but that really was a strong message you really put in. You want to kind of alliterate on it a little bit, if you can recall, if you can remember the content used on that.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like with the pandemic and with everything that's going on. I mean, I think we've gone in from a roller coaster ride, whereas sometimes, you know, we're promised a lot of freedom and other times we're not. So there's been a lot of give and take in terms of kind of the restrictions. And I think that particular day was just a bad day. It was one of those days where I was saying, you know what, I'm so done with this. You know, I want to be able to enjoy Christmas. I want to be able to see my friends. Again, it was a little bit kind of, you know, self pitying, but I kind of, again, turned that and I kind of sat down, as I tend to randomly do. And I kind of thought of it. I thought about it and I said, again, it's not about me. It's about kind of the message that you can kind of give to others. And the idea of that article was, and it was a picture of me, and it was kind of just where I was saying, look, at the end of the day, people are very quick to judge appearances, to judge people's scenarios or situations. Like if someone, say, you meet on the street isn't particularly pleasant to you, don't be so kind of quick to suddenly go, oh, well, you know, to retaliate and to kind of feed that negativity, because you don't necessarily know what kind of day they're having or what situation they're in, and particularly, you know, around Christmas, never mind the kind of situation that we're currently facing. It was more kind of a message to kind of stay strong within yourself, but also to kind of cut people a little bit of a break, because really, you know, you don't know what's going on, and people value what's inside more than what's necessarily going on the outside.
Yeah, you're really damn 100% spot on, and especially when it comes to women as well. You know, there's a whole lot of back and forward, especially when it comes to confidence, up to speaking out. You know, and it's one of the drags that keep on going on, where people have things in mind, but because of they don't want to be judged, they don't want to say, and if they do, how the backlash could be. So when I saw your article, I was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. That is good to see women like yourself, no matter what it is out there, you say that. And for me, I've always felt like if you don't do the talk, if you do the talk, so what's the point of keeping it there? Get it, let it out, you know? So certainly to you to actually be able to come out. So what would be your way to reach out to women, even male as well, you know, on how to express themselves? No matter what it is, or no matter what they're going through, especially now when it's Christmas time, you know, reach out, things like that. Over to you.
I think particularly, I mean, one thing in relation to that, one thing I have noticed with since COVID-19 has kind of spread its net, is that people have, you know, been forced to go online to communicate in ways that they're not particularly comfortable with, or that they're not familiar with. And I mean, you could look at that in terms of any age, any gender, any, you know, kind of background that people have had to adjust. And I think with that, one of the big things that I've noticed about in my immediate circle, and also online as well, because I do take a lot of time to kind of look into people and look into kind of how people use platforms, particularly social media, is people have suddenly learned to adopt the idea that it is okay to communicate and to be expressive and to say what they're actually thinking. And I know there was a big push, you know, with kind of what you were saying about Me Too. What I was saying, so what I was saying was the idea that people have had to kind of adopt and learn how to rethink how they're expressing themselves. So with that, I think I've noticed a certain confidence of people that they're kind of becoming more in control of how they come across themselves. And with that, I think people kind of need to understand, and to, again, kind of the principality of, you know, that you aren't on your own, and that everyone is struggling with this, and there is no kind of bias, there's no prejudice, there's nothing anymore that, you know, I mean, if we were to look back, you know, how many months ago, 9 months ago, or even a year ago, nobody would think we were in this situation, you know. So if anything, I think being forced to kind of embrace the new online technology, or the new kind of openness of people, because I've noticed people tend to be a little bit more relaxed or a bit more confident in sharing their feelings. Don't be afraid to do that, you know. And that article was literally a kind of a, you know, I'm going to put this out there because maybe someone else might feel, well, she can do it, so I can do it.
Definitely,
you know?
Definitely. You're definitely right. You're spot on all of these things, you know. Like you mentioned, due to the pandemic, it has really given a lot of people more ways on how to express themselves, more kind of rethink, look back, and be able to kind of like, wow, I couldn't do this before, but this pandemic has really changed, you know, even though it comes with a whole lot of atrocities, but at the same time, there's some good you can still take out of it as well. And then, you know, move on from there. So fair play that this is happening, and thank you for really coming on the show to be sharing your mind and share your experience on this. Before we wrap things up, Christmas is around the corner. What are your big plans? Have you anything special, gifts, everything all ready to go?
Oh God, I say this every year. I vow every year that I'm going to have my stuff sorted, you know, and that I'm not going to leave to the last minute. Lo and behold, it is that case. So sorry, people, but because I do, and I see people, and there's friends, particularly this year. Again, people seem to be shopping online, they're buying online, they're delivering online. So I think Christmas itself, it's going to be spent with family and friends. And then in terms of Christmas shopping, yeah, I think it'll be a last minute, oh my God, what do people like kind of thing. Maybe just send some flowers or gifts or whatever and figure it out.
Well done, well done. Just before we wrap things up there, so your new movies are going to be coming out hopefully next year. Is that maybe around the early years there at some stage? Yeah.
So Follow the Dead is actually doing the rounds at the moment. Hopefully they're looking into, you know, distribution or festival runs. I know they're doing a lot of that at the moment. And then there's another one just quickly called The Zenith Protocol, which is by the Apowski brothers. Yeah. And again, I play a really kick-ass agent. I don't know, it's just a real typecast at the moment, but it's, I mean, there's so much more there. Yeah. But that's coming out next year as well. So
I think those kind of kick-ass kind of stuff, I think maybe you like them. You know, you never can tell. It seems to be, you know, I haven't really taken time to kind of watch it. If I have my eyes on it, I would love to want to see those roles you really played. But, you know.
Yeah, oh no, well, she's gutsy. They're both actually quite similar characters, because normally I play a character that's quite damaged or kind of there's a lot going on. Whereas these two particular women, they're very much feminists. They kind of stand up for their rights, and they saved the day. So what's not to love about it?
Hello, Cristina. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Before you go, one more time for viewers who are tuning in, how can they really look up to follow you on the support COVID stress project you have online? If you want to kind of give people more details on that.
Yeah, so in terms of the support group, it's Support COVID-19 Stress Group. Stress Relief Group, sorry. And you can find that on Facebook if you type that in. You can also follow my actor page as Cristina Ryan if you just put that into Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, or you can find me on IMDb as well.
Wonderful. Cristina Ryan, actress, the kick-ass lady, so be very careful. If you ever, okay, I'm only making a joke on this one. Thank you so much, girl, for coming on the show today. It's a pleasure to host you here. And we want to wish you Merry Christmas, and hopefully next year, let us know. We keep an eye. I know you're on my page as well, so if anything is up, I'll definitely spot it on to let my team follow up with you. But again, we want to wish you and all you're doing. You're very hardworking, and appreciate the fact that you really embrace the other women to actually speak out, to do things and do things positively, and never look back, you know. So thank you so much for being able to do these.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me.
And hopefully next year, 2021, we can make it more better. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you so much, and a Merry Christmas to you too.
You too then. Okay, stay with us. We'll wrap the show up. Okay, viewers at home, this is where we're going to wrap the show up for today. I want to say thank you for following us. Thank you for following my guest, Cristina Ryan. Make sure you're going to check this wonderful lady. She got so much on the plate, and if you want to do anything with her, make sure you link up and see what other projects she might be doing that you don't know right now. So keep an eye on that. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and also on Instagram. And if you want to know more about my new project for next year, well, keep an eye. We'll let you know. So we'll come your way next week. Take care and God bless. Bye for now.